Start again.
You say it.
Okay, morning everybody. Today we are making a video of the Whittler whittling a spoon, and he's got one ready cut out and marked so that he can finish it off. And by the end of it, we're going to figure out how we're going to be giving that away to somebody. So here we go, carry on.
Shaping the bowl.
Yeah, okay. He's starting off shaping the bowl. Not that I know much about it because he's the whittler. I've already had a go once at making the wizards that he's taught me how to do, but I'm quite happy to leave him to do that one. What wood is that, Darren?
Lime wood.
Lime wood, British lime.
Yep.
Which is supposed to be the equivalent and same thing as American basswood.
But it's not.
But it's not, because somehow British lime is harder, much harder than American basswood. Basswood is softer, so therefore much easier to whittle, but since we can't get hold of it that easily unless we travel for it, and even then we can only get planks as opposed to blocks, so and we're trying to keep things more local and use what's available here rather than contributing to all those fossil fuels of importing stuff from other countries. So where we can, we're going to use whatever we can find that's local. We're even growing our own blackthorn and hawthorn in our own garden so that we could coppice that in future. So in a couple of years time we'll be able to coppice our own homegrown wood for the whittling. And you can see he's making really quick work of shaping that bowl. Are you enjoying what you do?
Yep. Just checking the roundness of the back, making sure it's equal on both sides. Keep on turning it over to double check the sides to make sure they're equal on both sides. I'm not the greatest spoon carver in the world, but I'm self-taught. I never had the luxury of going to somebody to show me how to do it. I had to teach myself, like most of us have to.
And what was the original reason why you started whittling?
Terrible concentration problems. I suffered with heavy concentration problems. To make myself concentrate better, because you're using a blade, you know where the knife is at all times.
You've learnt the hard way, have you?
I've learnt the hard way. More cuts and scratches and
Stabbings.
stabs and stitches than I need to recall. Well, stitches I've only ever had once.
We have gone through quite a few plasters. There we go, look how fast that's shaping there, that's lovely. Okay, now when he showed me how to whittle one of the wizards, and the wizard, you know, tree decorations, in the time it took me to whittle just one, he did 3. So I guess that once you get better at it, you can whip them out very quickly.
It also depends how complicated you want to make them. The more complicated you make things, the longer it takes. I'm not one of those people who like complicating things.
I think most people like things simple. You wouldn't get your money back for it if you have to put in that much detail. The specific details I suppose can be left for gifts and specific, you know, commissions and things. Something in your eye. Now he's starting on the complicated bits, the up and over Celtic knot type twists and turns. He's changed his knife for a different one.
Shoot backs don't work for this for me.
Okay, let me see if I can get him quick closer to see what he's doing there.
So just cutting it down to make it under an over shape.
Okay. There we go. And those knives are obviously very sharp to be able to slice through the wood like that. How often do you have to sharpen them?
Every 10 to 15 minutes. Make sure you keep your edge on them properly.
So it's a lot of sharpening just to get one
Edge is
string
not
done.
quite right on the front there.
Yep, that's looking good already. And the same thing on that one. So eventually it'll look like a kind of weaving up and over pattern. I'd love to be able to do Celtic knots.
I can do Celtic knots, I've done them before.
Lovely. So, how long has it now we've been whittling? Well, you've been whittling?
Not that long, about 5-6 minutes.
No, I mean in total.
A couple of years. I took it up.
It was
I guess,
about 2014, was it? 2013?
because of my concentration problems, I was having concentration problems. So I thought, there's got to be something I can do. Today's not the best day to be sitting outside doing it, but
A little bit cold and overcast. Not like yesterday. Yesterday was beautifully sunny.
I didn't think about doing it yesterday.
That's just as well. I was busy gardening yesterday.
Lucky you.
Well, at least it's not
As you can see,
scorching
it's
hot.
starting to do the over and
Oh
under
yeah,
shape,
lovely.
and from there I'll take it and round it off eventually. I'll start a bit of rounding off.
Smoothing out the edges.
I'm not one of those perfectionist carvers. You get too many of them out there. I'm not saying it's wrong, I just don't do it.
You don't want to be professional.
No, I don't want to be the standard. I don't want to be...
You don't want to be commercial.
No. I like doing it, it's fun. Gives me a break from the other things I do, like the wood turning and the other bits and pieces that I do, making things. It's alright if you've got loads of time on your hands. I don't have loads of time on my hands. I'm not that lucky. Don't have loads of time on my hands to do things.
I get totally mesmerised watching people whittle and carve and turn. When we watch YouTube videos of other people working, you kind of, it's really good medicine for insomnia, seriously. It's so relaxing watching other people do the woodwork. You don't have to do it so you don't cut your fingers, but watching somebody else do it is very relaxing actually.
Just making the knot slightly deeper. I wasn't happy with it there. It just didn't look deep enough for me.
So you, even though you've drawn the pattern, you have an image in your head of what it should look like when it's finished.
Well, you hope you get it to the way you want it at the end. You just keep working on it. You just got to be careful, because if you cut off too much, you can't put it back. Wood is one of those funny things, you cut too much off, you can't put it back.
So if you cut off too much, it's a redesign.
Basically it's scrap sometimes, unless you want to do something else with it. You try not to scrap your wood, because you just wasted a load of time then.
And wood.
And wood.
Which we don't get for free. Only sometimes.
Well, sometimes you're
if
lucky.
somebody gives us some, then we're
I
very
don't always get
fortunate.
it for free.
Yeah, the lime wood is not one we get for free, the lime and the bass.
Sometimes you're lucky and you find a fallen tree and you cut a piece off it and you take it home and you whittle it and you come up with something quite nice. You don't know what you're going to get out of a piece of wood until you cut it open sometimes. It's got some very nice things inside of it. Sometimes it's rotten to hell and gone inside.
So you don't know what you've got until you've started working it.
Yep, you can never tell with wood. You don't know why the trees come down, you don't know what's caused it to come down. It's starting to shake now, as you can see.
Wow, yeah. I love the way that happens.
Oops, getting the chip out there.
Chip out, what does that mean?
Is the wood is it goes very soft spot in there and it just comes out by itself. It's painful sometimes when you see it happen, because it can ruin your carving. Yeah, it's got a soft spot in it. The grain's running in a different direction, and it's just not wanting to carve properly at the moment. Switch back to that knife.
And that knife you changed is just for smoothing things out?
I prefer this knife sometimes. It just doesn't want to do the corner bits that I use.
And that's one of the knives you made yourself?
Yep, made of an old jigsaw blade. It's one of the first ones I ever made because I can't afford to buy the expensive knives they sell. The ones that are out there. I'm not going to say who makes them, because that's free advertising for them. I'm not going to do that.
No.
They don't pay me to advertise for them, so I'm not advertising for them.
Okay, so kind of on the cheaper makes to the more expensive makes, how much is the price range of them?
From the cheapest, you can pay £10, or if you really go cheap, you can pick one up for £8. I have picked one up for £8 in the past, but it didn't last very long. So that was like not very smart to buy that. But I thought I'd give it a go. Didn't work, I'll be honest with you.
And so when you make your own ones, right?
You can buy a knife for, like I said, £8. You can pick one up for £10, £12. I think they've gone up in price now. The make that I've seen, they've gone up in price. It used to be £10. They've gone up to about £13 now. The other ones, which are American made ones, I won't say the name because I don't rate their knives anyway for what they cost. They cost you up to £30–40 a knife, and if you're spending £30 or £40 on one knife, it better be worth it. I'm sorry, they're not worth it. There are some companies out there that say they sell decent knives. They're absolute rubbish, I'll tell you that myself, because I've seen some of them and they are absolute rubbish.
Oh, so you've gone against the grain there, kind of, and you need to...
Yeah, I've got to come back the other way.
Okay.
I'm just trying to take it down a bit.
So when the knife gets stuck, you go the other direction?
Yep, it all depends. It could be running, doesn't always mean it's running in the wrong direction. It means it could be doing that, or could be going that way. It all depends on the grain. You read your wood by your knife. If you dig in, if you cut in and your knife digs in all of a sudden, then you know you're going in the wrong direction with the grain, so you just turn it around and you come back on yourself.
Okay.
You just got to learn to read your piece of wood. It's pretty simple to read the wood. You just know when your knife digs in that it's going in the wrong direction, and you can tell by the way that the wood cuts as well. It leaves a horrible mark like that on it.
I'm just coming closer.
Because that means you've dug into the grain.
Okay.
It leaves a terrible mark on the wood. So yeah, you just got to watch what you just got to just take your time with it. I mean, it's not always, it's just a case of learning to read your wood, that's all. Wood is not hard to read, it's just knowing what you want to do. Just take your time with your knife and have fun. That's what I do. There are times when I make a mistake, there are times when I screw up. I don't care, just carry on. I do get a bit uptight sometimes, like everybody. Especially when you've got a half decent piece of wood and it just keeps on splitting out. That really gets you. But just persist and carry on, I say.
We're going to have to make a video of you actually making a knife one day.
A knife?
Yeah.
It's a long process.
Yeah, it is. But you'll have to wait till I learn how to edit so I can string together a couple of videos or cuts or whatever.
Making a knife is a long process, and I'm not a blacksmith, never been trained as a blacksmith, so to understand steel and its heating points, yeah, I'll have a go one day on showing you how to make one, a cheap one, because I know there are people out there like myself who can't afford these. Wrong way around. Bought the grain there.
And you started out first by scooping out the bowl before you cut it, yeah?
Yeah, I always scoop it out before I cut it. People say you shouldn't do that. It's just I find it easier. Everybody to their own way of doing things, I say. I'm not telling anyone how they should do things. I just do it that way because I find it easier for me. People say you shouldn't do it because you'll end up going through the bottom of your bowl when you're shaping the back of it. I just find if you take your time and you keep on feeling the inside of it like that with your fingers, you'll know how thick it is and how much work you've got to do. Your fingers will tell you how thick the bowl is in the bottom. Just taking these marks off.
And now when you've got it the way you want it, you're just going to sand it a little bit?
Because
we like to keep the tooling marks, it shows that it's handmade.
I don't particularly like sanding wood, especially not because some people out there say you should sand your wood.
Okay.
I do smooth it down a bit so I don't go mad, but I'm not one of those who are.
But we'll do a very mild sanding, and then you'll finish it with a food safe oil.
More than likely, yes.
Okay, because my battery's running out now. The video might die before you even get to the end. So can we have a look at what it looks like so far?
It needs a bit more shaping and turning.
Okay, yeah. Oh, there you go. That's a little bit more shaping and turning, and then a little bit of light sanding just to smooth out some rough edges. And finishing with a food safe oil.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I'm going to figure out how I can give this to somebody.
Yeah.
Give it away. Our first giveaway. Wow.
Yeah,
okay, don't forget to check us out on Facebook for the Whittler in the garden. And literally, you can see today that it is literally working in the garden. Usually, it's in the shed in the garden, but when the weather's fine and nice, it is outdoors in the garden. And some of the wood that we've recently been given by some friends is this, the mountain ash. Well, we think it's mountain ash. Extremely heavy, massive, big pieces, for which we're very, very grateful.
Don't know what the hell we're going to do with them yet.
No, we don't know what we're going to do with them yet. We'll figure out what we're going to do and we'll let you know later. But yes, by the time we do figure out what to do, there will be a lovely veranda here, so working outdoors will be a bit more covered. We'll be able to use this bit even if it's raining and be outdoors. And there'll be a lot more pretty plants and flowers and things. So yes, the Whittler in the garden is whittling a spoon. And there's the dog's toy, and there she comes just on time. Hey, Buttons. Yes, and she will very happily find sticks and things lying around in the garden to chew them. So we have to be careful what she finds. Yes, what's Daddy doing? Is he carving another spoon? Yes, it's not a chew toy. No, not a chew toy. There you go, Buttons. You said hello. Okay, off you go. There you go. So I'm going to say goodbye now. Leave him to finish that. I'll take some photographs of when it's finished and stick it on Facebook. And please do leave us your feedback, and I'll let you know on Facebook how we're going to figure out what we're going to do to give this away, and we'll let you know later. Alright then, bye.